Take charge of your thoughts. Take charge of your life. Psychologist, author, speaker, musician, former professor, and the host of Love and Life, Dr. Karen Anderson-Abril. Welcome to Dr. Karen Love and Life. I'm Dr. Karen Anderson-Abril. Today's program is all about love, but maybe not the kind of love you're thinking of. I'm talking about gay boy, straight girl love, what I'm calling the Will and Grace effect. Although I was having some major straight girl, gay boy love way before Will and Grace showed up. I'm just saying. And to talk about this issue, I'm bringing one of my gay boys and BFFs from college. We go back many, many years now. He's also now my manager. Chip Gregory is joining the program. Chip.
Hi.
Hey.
30 years.
Yeah. Oh my.
Just gave away our age.
We surely did.
It's traumatic.
So we've talked about this for many years, obviously for 30, and it's kind of interesting, and even the whole Will and Grace phenomenon that I talked about just a minute ago, when that show came on back in 1998, we were like, oh, okay, so people think this is cute and quirky, but that's our life. So
yeah, it was irritating because it's like we were Will and Grace long before.
Yeah,
before
they stole our stuff.
They did. Those kids.
Happened. Yeah,
but we enjoyed it because it was fun because we finally got a show about us.
Right, and that beautiful love affair that is the gay boy, straight girl love. And I think it's so fascinating. And of course I enjoy it in many of the TV shows. We've talked about Carrie and Stanford. Mm-hmm. And there's even an episode
Sex and the City, yeah.
Right, where Carrie has, her gay husband is Stanford. And then she has this new fling with her gay boyfriend. And of course, Stanford gets jealous. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, I've experienced that too. I mean, it's something that I think so many women and gay men can identify with.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of nuance to it. There's a lot of stereotypes out there. And I think if people haven't experienced it themselves or been around that kind of dynamic, they don't quite understand it. Or else maybe they do. And they watch Will and Grace and crack up, even if they don't know the Will character or the Grace character in their real life. They still go, that's funny.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And what's interesting, Chip, I wanted to tell you and my listeners is that there's actually some research on this. Okay, I know hashtag psych nerd, but I always have to bring the research in.
Yeah, so you really are a nerd because I want to, let's talk about the magic of it, right? And you're trying to ruin it with your science and logic. It's like, whatever. But please continue with your science.
So there's some research by a psychologist named Eric Russell out of the University of Texas in Arlington. And he wrote a piece that showed up in the online magazine called The Conversation. And it's called The Science Behind Why So Many Women Want to Befriend Gay Men. Which, okay, but the gay boys want to be friends with us too, by the way, Eric.
Absolutely.
Hello. So his methodology was really interesting. He had straight women and gay men look at fictitious Facebook profiles, which depicted for the straight women, there were either straight women, straight men, or gay men. And the straight women were asked how likely they would be to trust this individual's dating advice. And the gay men had the same task, but they had either straight women, gay men, or lesbian women. And the results showed that straight women and gay men perceived one another to be very trustworthy sources of relationship and dating advice. So in dating and relationship matters, there's this implicit trust. So Russell went on to do some follow-up studies and found that it's likely that gay men and straight women see each other as having no ulterior motives. So a woman might not take advice on dating from another woman because she'd be like, well, she's my competitor. I mean, we're in competition for the men out there. Or that a straight man would not be straight with her either, no pun intended, because there's that sexual chemistry that's going to be there. But with the gay men, there's no ulterior motive, so he's going to shoot straight about dating and relationship advice. And the same vice versa.
Yeah, we've talked about this. I think boundary is the wrong word, but there's this safe place that you can be.
okay, I'm going to take issue with the study. It was nicely conducted, but it's not just about dating and relationships.
Right. No, it's so much more than that. Right. I don't think our friendship was based on more than that.
Way more. I mean, we talked about that, of course, sure, but there was a lot more. It's just the energy. It's like the comfort, like you said. There's a safety. I can have that safe comfort of that male companionship I desire, but without ever having to worry that he's going to misread the signals. But here's the interesting piece. We had that even before you were out.
That's right. Like, we had that relationship even before I even wanted to be out.
Right.
Right? So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So how does that play? And I just feel the instinct and the natural friendship was developed still because of that, if that makes sense.
Well, okay, so here's the idea of that you weren't out, but the dynamics were what they were. Well, even though they weren't overt, they were still operating in a covert manner.
Absolutely. In fact, do you remember the first time? I remember the first time I saw you when we first met, but that wasn't the first time I knew you or how I saw you. This was very interesting. I don't know if we've ever talked about this recently.
No, I don't remember.
So, my freshman year in college, because you came a year after me, both your brothers were very popular on campus. Warren had graduated, but he was still on campus. I think he was a part-time
Yeah, I think he was doing
staff.
some adjunct professor or something.
So, the Anderson brothers, right? So, my group of friends knew Elliot and Warren, and they were so popular on campus. It was your freshman year. The freshmen came on campus. I was with a group of guys, and we were talking, and like, oh, have you heard about the Anderson brothers? Their sister's here now. She's a freshman, and she is a hottie.
I'll take it. Thank you.
And we were talking, and we were walking to the dorms, and that's when all the freshmen were moving in with their parents, right?
Yeah.
You know? And there you were with your parents, and they go, oh, that's her. And everybody's like gawking. And it's funny, we're like, oh, wow, she is hot. And I'm just like, she is fabulous. I want to get to know her. And so that's the first time I saw you. And you're walking, you had this confident walk, your hair was flawless, and you're just traipsing and looking wonderful. And I knew then, like, I want to get to know her. She is fabulous.
Wow. I really don't remember that story. But yeah, thank you.
So yeah, why do you think that? Like when I first saw you in your entire fabulousness, right? Looking wonderful in the hair and working the...
Thank you, darling.
Yeah, and the way you walked and you had, you traipsed in and you just... It was like, what an entrance. It was like, look at that diva looking all fabulous. But what is it? Like, is there something about, like, why are gay men attracted to that strong female archetype? And by the way, it's different. Like, you were talking about, well, some gay men like Madonna. And, for me, it's, I don't know, it's a mixture of diva women that I love. Ella Fitzgerald is one, right? Stevie Nicks. But what is it, do you think?
Like we were saying, I mean, I've had this conversation with you, but yeah, Madonna, Cher, Joan Crawford,
Barbara Streisand.
Oh my gosh, Barbara. I mean,
Lady Gaga now. With
for sure.
With the children, the 12-year-olds.
With the babies.
Well, they're all 12. Like, I look at a 30-year-old, I'm like, you're 12.
You need to stop that.
Sorry.
That's ageism.
It really is.
Okay. But right, so what is it? I mean, and we've talked about this for years. So let's ask the listeners. I mean, so listeners, do you have any thoughts about that? I mean, what is it about the diva and the gay man that is this...
Or the strong female type, whatever context it is for them, whatever fabulous is to that gay man.
Yeah, so let us know. Email us, put some comments in the podcast. I mean, let us know what you think, because we can't figure it out.
Hi, this is Bruni Getchell, life coach and clinical hypnotherapist from Boston, Massachusetts, and I listen to Dr. Karen's podcast, Love and Life.
I'm to the point, Chip, and I'll admit this to you, and you've seen this at work. So if I go to a gay bar and I'm just like there at the bar and the bartender is gay and I'm just like, hi. If a gay man doesn't basically propose marriage to me within 1 second, I'm a little irritated. I'm like, excuse me? Like, do you not understand the way?
So like you walk in a gay bar and you hear, look at her, she's wonderful. They gasp.
But it's so funny, Chip, because I would never walk in a straight environment and expect anyone to fawn all over me. Ever. And never. I would never expect a straight guy to fawn all over me. I would never expect a straight woman to.
That's funny because I do expect when I go in a straight bar to have the men go to me. It never happens. It's very disappointing.
But if a gay man is not, I mean, and I'm not, they could be perfectly polite, but if they aren't like obviously wanting a major love affair with me, like within 30 seconds, I'm so offended. I'm
offended for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've been with you when that happened. I'm like, I'm irritated with them. Let's go.
Like we hate them. We are out of here. Right. So yeah, it's funny just that dynamic, and then because you've experienced it, you expect it. You just want it all the more. So let's talk about some of the terms that these stereotypes that we
horrible.
So I've been called. And you've gotten angry. I've been called a fag hag.
Yeah, let's talk about that term. I think, historically what it is, right? Of course, and people are like, well, where did the word fag come from? And there's a lot of interpretations, but one, basically, fag is a cigarette in England and Europe, but also it was kindling, wood kindling. So basically it was meaning that we're going to set you on fire, right? So that's where the word kind of derives from that.
I never knew that.
So it's and there's some interpretations whether that's correct, and you know how that works.
Oh yeah.
But in American slang, it is, the woman is just so hideous. Because she can't get a real relationship with a man, so she has to be with a fag. And it's derogatory to both.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And then the fruit fly, I'm not crazy about that term either. And to me, it's like, why do we have to put a term to that? Because you're my best friend. And it's a relationship that's different than anything else. So we have to put something, category. So I don't know, but I hate it. And then you've probably heard the other one, which is, and there's many relationships with this. It was more prevalent in the 50s, and especially in Hollywood, what you call the beard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And people think that, a beard covers stuff up. But no, it's actually meaning, if a man wants to amp up his masculinity, then he would grow a beard.
Right.
And the same would go with, I'm going to have this woman. And a lot of the Hollywood studios and PR agencies would use known gay men, Rock Hudson, and they would put them with, females to make it look like they were dating. One of the most famous, of course, is Rock Hudson and Doris Day. And
then that was his beard.
Right.
And now he looks like a legit hetero man.
Right.
And everyone's happy. And
safe.
Yeah, and
the straight people feel safe.
The breeders.
The breeders, yeah.
Okay.
That is offensive.
I have been called a breeder, too. And I have not procreated, so.
We must keep the breeders secure in their breederdom.
Yeah, I didn't like the fag part. The hag part never bothered me. But then I had a lot of my gay boyfriends would be like, no, I don't want to call you that. So they went with fruit fly. I didn't care. I'm like,
how about you're my best friend, Karen?
Yeah.
That's what, yeah.
Yeah. I think the Will and Grace is kind of a nice, maybe neutral way. Just like, it's the Will and Grace thing. Yeah. That maybe that works.
Well, I tell people, that's my ex-wife.
That's even better.
It just sets it up differently. It's kind of like, we're.
I like that.
Dr. Karen Anderson-Abril.
I'd love to connect with you on social media. On Instagram, I'm at Dr. Karen, dr.karin. Here I share my thoughts on love and life through original quotes and images. I'd love to have you join the conversation. On Twitter, I'm at Dr. Karen Anderson. You can find me live tweeting my favorite shows, This Is Us, Will and Grace, and my guilty pleasure, All Shows Bachelor Nation. On Facebook, I'm at Dr. Karen Anderson-Abril. There you can read my blog, see where I'm speaking, and find links to others' podcasts when I'm a guest on their show. Okay, so let me nerd out just one more time. There's also some research looking at gay men and straight women in the workplace. So according to the Journal of Business and Psychology, straight women tend to hire gay men over other heterosexual applicants. The interpretation here is that they perceive gay men to be more competent and warmer.
That's also an EOCC violation, but please continue.
I don't know what OCC is.
Sex discrimination, gender. I mean, please continue.
Well, no, and the final finding is that marketing researchers suggest that straight women prefer to work with gay males associates over others in consumer retail settings.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Really? Huh.
And these researchers were saying, hey, well, things are looking up. More and more women are in leadership positions in corporations. And so the workplace environment should be looking up for gay men in general, based on the fact that the straight women may be hiring them from time to time, whatever. But so what do you think about that?
It's interesting. I would love to see some research, too, on others in the LGBT community, especially trans. Mm-hmm. But I know we're not talking about that, and that's another show. But, of course, I'm going to go there. You know, the other part of this is we need to talk about the misogyny with this, too.
Oh.
Yeah, because especially after Stonewall, and I like that I have become all of a sudden an LGBT specialist just because I'm a homosexual man who's married to a fabulous husband, by the way.
He is fabulous. I love you, Troy.
Troy.
I love him.
But back in the day, you know, a lot of straight women, when they would go into the gay bars with their friends, they were ostracized and they were heaped upon these horrible comments and not really welcome. And it's different today. This is mainly in the 50s, 60s, but even in the 80s. And there was this disdain. A lot of times the bartender wouldn't serve them. And I know that sounds crazy now. And it's like, okay, it's not, you know, real persecution that someone didn't serve you. But it is, because for me, and we've had this conversation before, you know, our straight allies, especially our friends, like for me, you have always been there from my journey, from the beginning till now. You were in my wedding. I'm going to get a little emotional here. But you have always been there. You know, even at the dark times when I first came out and there were some issues. So you are the backbone of the LGBT community.
Well, I'll go with that. I agree. Yeah, and so the reason I wanted to address this on this week, I mean, this is Valentine's week, and typically we'd have some lovey-dovey thing about marriage, or even last year I had an episode for the single ladies, you know, because that's important too. But what I wanted to stress is just the uniqueness of all the love in our life. And so for any listeners who don't have that romantic love at this moment, because the Mr. Right or Miss Right isn't around right now, just really enjoy and relish in the love you do have. And if you're lucky enough to have some gay boy, straight girl love in your life, you know, I hope that you'll see that as just as wonderful and meaningful in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because it is something special.
It is something special. And I just wanted to kind of highlight that this week.
I have a picture on our refrigerator, and it's a big picture. It's it was probably 2 years ago, summer. We were at a rooftop party in Chicago somewhere, and it's a picture of you and Troy talking. And I took it, and it's like, there's my girl and there's my man. And you guys look like you're conspiring or talking. Like, what are they talking about? Probably me. That's the ego side of me thinking, they're probably talking about me, how exasperating I am, but whatever. But it's one of my favorite pictures.
Yeah.
This is Alexis Hyde, and I'm the director of the Museum of Broken Relationships in Los Angeles, California, and I love listening to Love and Life with Dr. Karen, and I know you will too.
And you know, Chip, one of the things that's interesting about this discussion is, even in my book, I incorporated a portion in one chapter where I talked about the beauty of the gay bar for a woman who's single. And how, and even to this day, I mean, I was at a conference in Charlotte, my listeners know, last week. And I mean, we went out, Kate and I went to a couple different places, and then we went to a gay bar, and I just feel at home. I do, like in a way that I don't in straight bars. It's true. And so I was encouraging in the book, like, hey, just explore that. You know, your gay boy karaoke's awesome. No one hits on you, and they actually can sing because they've been in show choir since they were 5. You know, just stupid stuff like that. But I mean, a lot of that's very stereotypical. And you and I can play with that and have fun because we know where it's coming from, a place of love and just enjoying some of those stereotypes. But I understand that, you know, there might be listeners who are like, hey, you guys are in this, you know, Gen X world of gay, straight, and that's kind of it.
Sure.
And I can't speak to some of the other, someone who's non-binary or someone who's trans. I don't know what their dynamics are. So I kind of just want to throw it out there. Like, I'm not trying to be exclusive at all. I'm just speaking to the unique, special relationship that I have experienced. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm trying to get out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the same, though, for me would be, I have a non-binary friend, too.
Yeah.
And we have a special friendship, too. But, you can kind of liken it to what we have. But that's interesting you bring that up. I think it is a Gen X phenomenon more than today.
I wonder.
Yeah, which is hopeful, right? Because that means, some groups are rising up and saying, hey, where's my voice? And they're finding their voice. Mm-hmm. Because I think that relationship, the reason it was important for me and you was that's all I had at that time, right? I didn't have groups. It was just you.
Oh, that's interesting to look at it that way. Mm-hmm.
So as things get better, those roles change. I still say, though, you're my best friend, and that's all that matters, right?
Yeah, right. But, and this goes back to cognitive psych, I have to throw my nerdiness,
of course,
back in there. In cognitive psych, we understand that the brain is efficient. Like, we're trying to make meaning. So we want to categorize. And that's the part of the human condition that's horrific, right? Because I go, you're like me and you're not like me.
Right.
Categories.
Right.
But you have to look at it. I mean, probably people who categorize people as like, you look like me, so you're probably safe.
Right.
I mean, it's
an evolutionary thing.
Right.
Right.
People who did that survived and passed on their genes. Mm-hmm. And this is not just psychology, it's also anthropology. We see this every culture worldwide has in-group, out-group. And so we categorize. It's the way the mind works. So we're not trying to be, and that's why I have a little bit more of a gentle perspective when it comes to when people are like, well, you just see me. It's like, well, we see through what our brain allows us. We have a lens. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't tear down those walls. Mm-hmm. It just means that we have a default mode that is survival based. And when I see someone who doesn't look like me or seems other, I'm uncomfortable. So I have to push through that with the part of my brain that's rational and evolved. And I push through that and go, okay, that's silly. But there's a primal piece of us that is fearful of what we don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's part of it is being hesitant to progress, right? Because we feel safe. And that's not always good.
Right.
And that's one of your message is when when you try to live a safe life, you don't challenge yourself, you don't take charge. And it reminds me, I started seeing this in emails, and it was pretty cool of the pronouns that the person wants to be called, right? Mm-hmm. So it was exciting to see that this is how things are progressing now. Every generation is going to have its phenomenon when it comes to the LGBT community and where they're at. Mm-hmm. I will say this. I was so proud of my niece, Caitlin. Her best gay friend, he came out to his family. Mm-hmm. This has been about 3 years ago. And they kicked him out on Thanksgiving Day. Like, literally, there's snow on the ground. This is in the Midwest. Kicked him out of the house.
Wow.
Literally kicked him out of the house. He had nowhere to go, and he lived in a small town. He had nowhere. He called my niece his best friend. Yeah. And he lived with with my sister through Christmas. Wow. I was so proud of her, but that's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. He really hadn't come out to anybody else, and she's the only one that he could feel safe with, that she understood. And that was her buddy, and she took care of him. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the time, I think you were going through a really bad breakup. You were in college.
That was like many times.
I wasn't going to say that, but I think I was in Columbus at that time, and you were in Chicago going to school, and you're like, just come here. I'm devastated. You were just like, it was a bad, and I'm like, you know what? I got off work. I drove. I think I got there like at 1 a.m. I don't remember who you broke up with at the time, but you were just devastated.
I probably don't either.
But I didn't even hesitate, and you did the same for me. I remember when I went through a similar breakup. I lived with you for a time. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of stuff we help each other with, and why I get emotional talking about it.
It's funny because it goes back to the research study. At least from the data, there's a component of the gay boy, straight girl love that does really highlights the dating and relationships. There's a particular safety in that realm.
That fortifies the friendship.
Right. And then it generalizes to all kinds of other
But
domains.
also we have shared values. We have the same sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the first time we met, I made this joke and only 2 people laughed and you laughed the hardest. And I'm like, who is that? Oh, it's that fabulous girl that I saw earlier.
Hi, this is Kate from Chicago. The dating scene can be tough, and when I need a little encouragement, I turn on Dr. Karen's Love and Life to get a reminder that staying true to myself is the most important thing.
So the listener question for this week is from Jared. Hello, Dr. Karen. I recently started listening to your podcasts, and I have to say I'm very glad I came across them. Over the years, I've struggled with happiness in the world of love. So to hear some of the things you said has really brought great enlightenment. I do want to ask, or more so request, it would be interesting if you made a segment on how to regain trust in people. I know for me, I went through a series of bad relationships and realized that I lost trust in men and finding real love and happiness. Over the years, I encountered other people, usually men, that think the same way as I do, due to a series of bad events. With that being said, it would be great to hear your perspective and maybe suggestions on what to do when you haven't lost hope on finding that special someone that makes you happy, but you have a lack of trust. Thanks for your time and thank you for the informative podcasts. First of all, Jared, thank you so much for reaching out to me, and I'm so glad that my podcasts have been helpful for you. That's the whole point of why we do Dr. Karen Love and Life. And as for what you're going through, trust is hard to regain once it's been broken. No question. It's so painful to have your heart stomped on. And as you know from listening, I've been there, felt that, no question. And I don't think there's a magic formula. And that's the problem. I really want to give you some little love and life hack that will make it all better, but I can't, because trust is something that you have to just talk to yourself to say, yes, I was wronged. Yes, I was hurt. But I can't let that one instance or 10 instances cloud my vision and cloud my perspective for all the next relationships that I'm going to encounter. Think of it this way. It's not fair to the new guys you meet if you hang on to the hurt and the pain from the other guys who hurt you. If you do that, there's no hope for a future, because no one can walk into a new relationship expecting happiness and positivity if they're still hanging on to the pain of the past. And I'm not saying it's easy, but most of the things that make our lives really great aren't easy. Most of the things that make our lives really great are hard, but you know that love is worth it, and you know that it's worth letting go of the past and letting go of the pain and stepping into a hopeful future. So I encourage you to do that. And Jared, thank you for this question, because I actually am going to reach out to some other professionals, some therapists who specialize in this content area, and we're going to have a podcast devoted to this topic in the near future. Thanks, Jared. So again, I wanted to have this episode post on Valentine's week because there's so much love out there in so many forms, and it should all be enjoyed and it should all be highlighted and underscored. And so to my listeners, happy Valentine's Day from Love and Life. Just enjoy the week. Enjoy the love in whatever form it is. So the Love and Life hack for this week is celebrate the love in your life. No matter what form it takes, love is love.
Dr. Karen Love and Life has been produced by Dale Gregory, senior producer Michelle Musso, and host and executive producer Dr. Karen Anderson-Abel.